and welcome to the garden. Today is our week 10 full garden tour and I'm so excited to show you what's in my garden. Now last night we had a pretty decent thunderstorm and there was a little bit of damage, but not too bad. The ghost cherry that was over by the gate was actually just laying out in the path when I came out here, so I had to pick him up. Lost a couple tomatoes to that. They're in the house, they'll ripen up just fine. And there may be a couple tomato branches laying over, but we'll fix those on our way through. So I'm so excited to show you what I have going on out here, so let's get started. Okay, so let's start right here. So I actually came out and this plant was laying in the ground, which is perfect. This is the ghost cherry. It dropped a couple tomatoes when it fell and I took those in the house. I have been picking off of this every once in a while. Now if we go in a little bit farther, this is the black seaman. It's totally fine, and there's some blush happening out here, which is very exciting. Super stoked for that. The bush bean patch is crazy. Everything's a little storm ravaged. Okay, so down here there are lots of tomato branches on the ground, but that's because I came out and trimmed last night. For the most part, everything looks fine. So I'm probably not gonna go super in depth on all these plants this week. Here's the Casalito. Tomatoes are still small. Here's the other ghost cherry. It's massive. I have been picking a few off of this. I finally figured out how to tell when they're ripe. This is the carbon. I picked my first big one off of this a couple days ago, and this one looks like it's starting to blush, which is exciting. The Amish Paste looks pretty good. There's quite a few pretty decent sized tomatoes on here. It is still setting blossoms, so that's good. Here is the sweet Scarlet Dwarf that used to be in the middle of the walkway. It has set some flowers, but there's no tomatoes on it yet, so I don't know. These are the Aunt Ruby's German Green, these two. The tomatoes on these are getting huge. Look at that big boy back there, I don't know. He's a big boy. Not quite ready to pick. These will darken, they'll get a darker green and they'll have some red streaking on them, and that's when you kind of know that they're ready to come off. Look at that. Beautiful ring-kissed tomatoes. This large red cherry next to those has finally started blushing its tomatoes. I don't think I'd grow this again, honestly. The tomatoes are okay. They're a little bit, the skin is a little tough. So this is probably not a regrow for me. Now these are the two Kellogg's breakfast. I came out and cut a bunch of branches off last night and got everything tied up, which is good, seeing as it stormed again. There's one really big one on here back here. And there are others on here are getting pretty big too, which is awesome. Now look at this down here. This is a Chianti Rose. And I'm hoping that this did not split. And I think it did. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off. Yeah, it's split. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this and bring it in the house to finish ripening. This was my favorite tomato last year. So the thought of even having one this close to being done is amazing. This tomato does not necessarily, a leaf. This tomato is a pink tomato. So this color on the bottom is kind of what you're looking for all over. This one is gonna take a few more days, I think, because it's still kind of light on the sides and it's not super soft to the touch. But since it's split like this, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this and take it inside. Stay right there. So there was another one on this plant that was starting to blush, and I want to make sure that it also didn't split. No, it's okay. That one's a little bit smaller, but it is getting there also, which is exciting. Now these are the Thorburns terracotta. Lots of smaller ones on here that are ripening, not quite ready to come off yet. And then here's our triple crop, and this is an issue. And this branch looks like it's split a little bit. So we are just gonna take this and kind of shove it through here. For now, I'll come back out later with some twine and tie that up, but I think it'll probably be okay. Our blonde girl cherry has all these blossoms on it again over here. I'm out of ripe ones. This one's starting to ripen a little bit, but waiting for more fruit to set. There's some way back there that have set. This is the pink ox heart. I think that this one may be getting ready to blush. It's starting to get a little bit yellow on the shoulders, which is exciting. This is the Brandywine Black. It has one on it that's blushing. This one is really worse for wear. It has this weird thing in the side, but it is getting there. I'm gonna leave this. It did not crack again last night, so I'm gonna leave it. And now this is our pineapple, and if I move these branches, look at all these tomatoes back here. This one did split, so I'm gonna pull this one. This one's really not ready, but it's split right here, you can see, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull it. Let's see if any of these other ones split. That one did. These tomatoes are really good. They crack really easy in the rain. So, I probably will grow this again because it's delicious, but literally all these tomatoes that were even semi-blushed cracked. Oh, yeah, you can see that. So we're just gonna have a whole counter full of tomatoes that need to finish ripening in the house. Like, here's another one. And I bet this one did too. Oh yeah, this one did big time. Big old crack in that one. This one's pretty close. It's getting its red on the bottom. This is how you know these are ready. They get little red streaks. So all of these are going in the house with me. Okay, I didn't bring a basket out here, of course, because why would I bring a basket with me? All right, so next to the pineapple is the Cherokee Purple. That's right. It's right here. I don't know how I could forget. There's a couple blushing on here, which is very exciting. This one is super cat-faced. This one is not. Neither of these cracked, so that's good. These tomatoes were about the same amount of color as those pineapples, and all those pineapples cracked. So, next to that is the San Marzano. I have picked one off of this. I haven't picked any more, which is interesting. This plant is covered in tomatoes. I've only had one ripe one so far. And then this is the other sweet Scarlet Dwarf. It's got some yellowing down here, but it still looks happy. Now, let's turn around and look at these peppers. So this row is the Keystone Resistant Giant Bell, so Sweet Bell. Got some peppers coming in. I haven't picked any yet, but they are coming along pretty well. I'm happy with these so far. These are the pepperoncini. Lots and lots and lots of peppers on these plants. And this is a cayenne. Lots on that too. We got our Chocolate Beauty Bell. There's a few on here. And then this is our row of Craig's Grande jalapenos. And there are quite a few jalapenos on here. They are not grande yet, but I think that they will get there. The ones on this plant are the biggest. Yeah. So, pretty happy with the peppers as of right now. Let's take a look at this beauty. I have been pulling some things out of here. because they've just not been doing well. But for the most part, pretty happy with the way everything in here looks. These are the purple potted pole beans, and as you can see, there are beans. I have been picking beans from these plants. The rattlesnake pole beans are doing really well. I'm still picking beans pretty much every day from these. I got some hanging up here. Down here in this tub, I planted some lettuce seeds. They're starting to come up, and then I also moved some dill from the tower over here to see if it gets any bigger. So we'll see what happens. The cantaloupes, let me see if I can get over here. I have my scooter in the way. Cantaloupes are doing really well. This one down here is getting pretty big. There's also 2 or 3 more on those plants. And then the watermelon. Dun dun dun. Look at that. I love it. It is huge. I mean, it's not, but it's really big compared to what it was last week. And there's another female blossom right here, so that's exciting. Now if I spin around the tripod, this is the green dragon burpless cucumber, and it's finally starting to like do stuff. There are female flowers on here, so I'm hopeful that I will have some cucumbers. This is the muncher, and again, there are female flowers on here. I do think a few of them have been pollinated because they are a little bit bigger. So again, hopeful. This is another muncher cucumber. And then these right here are some Kentucky Wonder pole beans. And then we have, this is a teddy bear sunflower, and then just some marigolds. So that's gonna about cover it for our week 10 full garden tour. I am super happy with the way things are going out here right now. Had a little tiny bit of storm damage last night, but nothing too bad. I came out and tied up some tomatoes before everything happened last night, just to make sure nothing fell over, and I think I did an okay job. Tons of tomatoes to pull in the house, to ripen on the counter. That happens, cracking happens. If you see cracking on your tomatoes, don't worry. It just happens sometimes. Some varieties are more vulnerable to cracking than others, so keep that in mind and don't panic. Just pull them off and let them ripen on the counter. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.